Welcome viewers, and this is a fresh edition of Atn Business. This is the network's medium of bringing the happenings in the economy sector of the society to our discerning viewers. This program is aimed at bringing the doorstep to the viewers business, financial and economic activities from all strata of society. Its delivery is accentuated through the various stock exchanges across the world, news about government economic activities, private sector business activities, and laced with experts' opinions, stakeholders, analysis, and correspondence reports. Now we go to the headlines for today's discussions. In Forex market, Naira strengthens to 1,309 against the US dollar. In finance, 12 banks may not meet the new CBN directives. In power sector, TCN raises alarm over planned attacks on its facilities. In IGR, 107 companies to enjoy tax exemption from federal government. We'll go for a very short break, and when we return, we go straight to the details of today. Stay tuned, please.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blow.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Glad to have you back. And now we head into the newscast for today. In the last 2 weeks, the Central Bank of Nigeria and other banking institutions have improved dollar supply to the foreign exchange market by $2.5 billion, making the naira strengthen to 1,309 naira against the US dollars. Official figures obtained from FMDQ Securities Exchange revealed that the naira closed at 1,309 naira to a dollar on Thursday, compared to 1,300 to a dollar recorded a day earlier. However, it still falls within the 8-week low for the naira as it continues to gain strength against the US dollar. Trading activities were closed on Friday due to the public holiday. Similarly, forex transactions between willing sellers and buyers at the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market increased by 106% to $857 million at the closing of trading activity on Thursday, marking the highest level since the central bank implemented its new forex policies. This latest development is also the largest turnover since 2021, with the closest figure being $760 million on June 22nd, 2022. The average daily forex turnover recorded in March has been around $220 million, while this year we have seen $177 million in daily average forex turnover. Penultimate week, the CBN made a total sales of $1 billion US. Wow. Liquidity in the forex market has been attributed to an array of policies currently implemented by the CBN. Key reforms include the unification of exchange rate windows, liberalization of the FX market, clearance of FX backlog obligations for banks and airlines, implementation of a price verification system, imposition of limits on banks' net open position, removal of daily cap of 2 billion naira on remunerable standing deposit facility, and overhaul of the Bureau de Change segment. Forex turnover is a critical metric in the forex and financial world as it represents the total value of all foreign exchange transactions completed within a specific time frame, providing insights into the liquidity and vibrancy of the forex market. High turnover rates indicate a highly active market with numerous participants engaging in buying and selling currencies, which can signal investor confidence and economic stability. On the official end of the market, the Apex Bank started by addressing suspected cases of excessive foreign currency speculation and hoarding from the Nigerian banks. The Apex Bank also announced the complete clearance of valid foreign exchange backlog. They stated that they concluded the payment of $1.5 billion US to settle obligations to bank customers, effectively settling the residual balance of the FX backlog. At the parallel market, the naira has continued to appreciate as the US dollar is currently selling at 1,280 naira to the dollar on the Paralex market. At the black market, the US dollar sold between 1,280 to 1,305 naira to the dollar, depending on who is buying and selling. Following the recent foreign exchange policy measures of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I will move into the commerce industry. The Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry and Mines and Agriculture has said that it will consult with stakeholders and await the disclosure of the complete policy framework for the CBN and the government. The national president of NASIMA, Dele Oye, disclosed this in a statement on Sunday by press. Oye said it was imperative to highlight NASIMA's approach to this matter as one of caution, prudence, thorough analysis, and correspondents also reported that the Apex Bank on Thursday unveiled new minimum capital requirements for banks, pegging the minimum capital base for commercial banks with international authorization at 500 billion naira. However, the NASIMA boss said that in response to the specific query regarding NASIMA's stance on the recent CBN policy directive to raise Tier 1 and 2 of banks' capital base to 500 billion and 200 billion respectively, it is imperative to highlight NASIMA's approach to this matter as one of caution, prudence, and thorough analysis. As such, we intend to engage in consultations with our stakeholders and await the disclosure of the complete policy framework from the CBN and the government. This approach is essential to ensure a well-uniformed response that considers the intended macroeconomic objectives that the capitalization increase seeks to address, Oye added. Oye also stated that NASIMA acknowledged the significance of the policy shift within the banking sector and its potential implications on the broader macroeconomic landscape. Moving on, 12 banks will be unable to utilize about 4.8 trillion naira in retained earnings in their coffers to strengthen their capital base in line with the new Central Bank of Nigeria's directive to raise capital. This came as officials of commercial and merchant banks are eyeing Eurobonds and private placements from foreign investors as race for the banking sector recapitalization furthers momentum. The CBN had in a new circular to commercial merchants and non-interest banks and promoters of new banks on Thursday announced the review of the capital requirements for the operations of the affected categories of banks in the country. Citing both domestic and global shocks, the Apex Bank, in a statement signed by its Acting Director of Corporate Communications, CD Ali, said that it has become necessary to raise the capital base of the banks. Thus, the CBN directed the commercial banks with international authorization to increase their capital base to 500 billion naira and the national banks to 200 billion naira, while those with regional authorization are expected to achieve 50 billion naira capital floor. Similarly, non-interest banks with national and regional authorizations will need to increase their capital to 20 billion and 10 billion respectively. The CBN move came 2 days after the Monetary Policy Committee hinted that it will change the capital base of the banks. According to CBN circular, only the share capital and share premium items on the shareholder fund portion of the balance sheet will be recognized in this particular round of recapitalization. Correspondents had earlier reported that about 26 banks, including commercial banks, merchant banks, and non-interest banks, would need to raise about 4 trillion naira in the end of 24 months to meet the new capital base required by the CBN. Findings by press have shown that 12 financial institutions, including Access Holdings, FBN Holdings, FCMB Group, Fidelity Bank, Stanbic IBTC Bank, Zenith Bank PLC, United Bank for Africa, Sterling Financial Holdings, Guarantee Trust Holdings Company PLC, Wema Bank, Polaris Bank, and non-interest bank Jaiz Bank have 4.8 trillion naira in retained earnings, which they will be unable to touch due to the CBN directive. According to Investopedia, retained earnings are the cumulative net profits of a company after accounting for dividend payments. It captures the fact that because those earnings were not paid out to shareholders as dividends, they are instead retained by the company. To meet the requirement, the CBN gave the sector 3 options, including issuance of new common shares by way of public offer, definitely, rights issues, or private placements, mergers and acquisitions, and downgrade of the respective license category or authorization, something new coming in to the banking industry in Nigeria. We hope to see what it births out with these new CBN directives. Moving on, the Lagos State Government, through the Office of the Public-Private Partnership and the State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to build a 28-kilometer toll road. The new road will stretch from Shasha Road to the airport toll gate on the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. The partnership was revealed in a statement posted on the Lagos State Government's official Facebook page recently. It read in part, in a significant step towards enhancing infrastructural development, the Lagos State Government, through the Office of the Public-Private Partnerships and the State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, has established a partnership with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria by signing a Memorandum of Understanding for a 28-kilometer road project. The Special Advisor Legal to the Governor and Office of the Public-Private Partnerships, Bukola Odo, who led the government delegation, stated that the collaboration aimed to kickstart the construction of a 28-kilometer toll road extending from Shasha Road to the airport toll situated along Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. According to Odo, under the pivotal agreement formalized at the FAAN Annex Office, Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, both the federal and state governments are to work closely through a public-private partnership framework to facilitate the commencement of comprehensive exploratory works. The endeavor, she said, aligned with the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, his administration of Themes Plus agenda, specifically targeting the alleviation of traffic congestion along the crucial corridors. Also on Lagos State Government, it has disclosed it is working to boost water transportation by creating safer and more efficient and sustainable strategies which are at various stages of implementation. A statement on Sunday noted that Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Osiemi, stated this during a tour of the Lagos State Waterways Monitoring and Data Management Center Control Room established by the Lagos State Waterways Authority. The commissioner explained that various strategies were to be implemented by the state government to make water transportation a viable and reliable option for Lagosians. Explaining the functions of the WMDMC control room, the general manager of LASWA, Damilola Emmanuel, stated that the control room was set to manage movements on the inland waterways, to further assess real-time safety measures on the waterways, to tour entourage, which include the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Transportation, Olawale Musa, and LASWA boat operators and Caverton Marine representatives embarked on a boat ride in one of the Caverton locally made boats to Badore Ferry Terminal to inspect the boatyard where the construction of the ferries are taking place, the statement said. Musa, while on the 35-minute boat ride to Badore, hinted that the state government found it more economical patronizing the local boat builders to build its boats, which could not be compared to the higher cost of purchasing the same from outside the country. At the boatyard, the Chief Executive Officer of Caverton Offshore, Olabode Makonjola, explained that the boats were built in line with international standards, saying that 15 newly built boats will soon be launched and put into use in the inland waterways. Don't forget, we are open for advert bookings and commercials, and you can connect with us and watch us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. On X, formerly Twitter, we're on Atlantic TV Net, and watch us live also on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. We're hoping to get more information from you and reach out as much as possible. We are here to do business with you. Moving on, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmad Dangiwa, has urged the newly inaugurated Board of Quantity Surveyors and Registration Board of Nigeria to promote integrity, honesty, transparency, and fairness in the course of performing their professional duties. Dangiwa gave the charge during the formal inauguration of the 10th constituted Board of the Quantity Surveyors Registration Board of Nigeria. The board is a professional regulatory agency for quantity surveyors under the supervision of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. The 15-member board comprises of 6 appointees of the ministry under sections 2, subsections 1, and 5 representing Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors in sections 2, representing institutions of higher education. And Dangiwa stated that the appointment of the board members was a call to national service, saying that they had a critical role to play in fixing the challenges facing the housing sector through the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development as directed and intended by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Members of the board are to include determining the quantity surveyor standard of knowledge and skills, regulating and controlling the practice of quantity surveying profession in all its aspects and ramifications. The full details of your duties and responsibilities as prescribed in the Enabling Act of the QSRBN, which will be handed over to you at the end of the inauguration ceremony. I urge you to carefully read through them and become familiar with them, as the knowledge will help and keep and guide you towards contributing your quota to national development. We'll go for a very short break to issue in the interview section, and when we return, there's more for you to do. There's more for you to follow us up with. Don't forget, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. We are here for you. Atlantic Television Network, ATN Business. Don't touch that dial.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people, all of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Glad to have you back on ATN Business. And we have one more news report before we go into the interview section. If you please bear with us. Following Thursday's national grid collapse, the transmission company of Nigeria has raised the alarm over a planned attack on its facilities in Zuba, Gwagwalada area of the Federal Capital Territory. The TCN spokesperson, Ndidi Mba, disclosed this in a statement on Sunday. Mba said that there were alerts of planned attacks on the power installations in Zuba, calling for heightened vigilance while reiterating the firm's commitment to managing the national grid and ensuring its stability amidst ongoing challenges such as the persistent low gas supply affecting power generation in the nation's grid. He said TCN's grid controllers work tirelessly day and night to balance the grid and prevent any kind of disturbance. According to Mba, the recent grid disturbances on March the 28th was promptly managed by TCN operators with power restoration achieved in some areas within 21 minutes. We acknowledge the collaborative efforts of the federal government, particularly the Minister of Power, who has been working hard to address the root cause of low gas supply. The minister has held meetings with generating companies and gas companies to secure a higher volume of gas supply and consistency for enhanced power generation, he noted. However, he stated that as efforts to stabilize the gas supply progressed, consistent gas availability was important to sustain optimal power generation, facilitating easier grid management and reducing systems disturbances. It is a fact that low power generation substantially increases grid fragility, and vandalism is a persistent challenge, as clearly seen in the first quarter of 2024 alone, in which 5 significant vandalism incidences disrupted transmission operations, necessitating emergency repairs and in some cases complete tower reconstruction and or transmission line replacements due to acts of vandalism, she added. According to Mba, TCN urges heightened vigilance for now, particularly in the Zuba area, following alerts of a planned attack on TCN facilities in Zuba. We employ residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicion and remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities around power facilities in the area to safeguard the integrity of our infrastructure and ensure uninterrupted power supply to all. Again, we urge everyone, especially those living close to the TCN towers nationwide, to please join hands with TCN in safeguarding the power transmission towers and cables. We have our guests today to discuss on some very, very vital issues concerning our economy and our financial well-being. I'll introduce him, but first we go to the topic for today. Stakeholders in the building industry have disclosed that 94% of properties in Lagos State do not have legal titles. They stated this in a separate interview with press at the recent launch of the Edge Facility Managers, which was held in Lagos. The first Vice President of the National Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Victor Alonge, said that the way forward in maximizing the dead capital in the country was to streamline the land titling process. He said that the dead capital is dead because the owners have no legal title to land, and without legal title, you cannot access finance for one purpose or the other. In going to a bank, security will be required to serve as collateral for finance to be loaned out. This security means a certificate of occupancy, which serves as a legal title, and without a legal title, banks will not yield their money. The solution is to improve the land titling system, giving access to easy registration, hence a need for state governors to take it very seriously. Lagos State is at the forefront of states with an improved land titling system. You would find out that of the properties in Lagos, about 94% have no legal title. Wow. And if Lagos is at the forefront, You can imagine states like Nasarawa, Ogun, and Oyo, amongst others. Alonge noted that Edo State has lots of property, but the issuance rate of certificates of occupancies could be improved. Similarly, managing partner of Ubosi Ele and Co., Chudi Ubosi, said it was essential to identify assets available. He said, unfortunately, about 94% of land is without title in Lagos State, and that is the nature of what we are, because people are afraid of getting the title as they do not trust what the government gives them. They believe that the titling gives the government an opening into their lives by tax deductions, amongst others. In addition, many do not even bother or know the advantages of having a formal title to land. Also, many are afraid of the process as they have always seen the government as a bureaucratic monster that consumes. The government needs to do a lot more in building awareness, educating the people, and building capacity. My guest today is an economist analyst of no mean repute. He is a friend of the house, and he is a man of timber and caliber in this respect. I'm talking of no other but Ugochukwu Ora. It's a pleasure having you, sir.
It's a pleasure being here. I'm not an economic analyst, rather, let me just correct the notion.
Okay.
I'm a social analyst, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. Basically, what I love most in my life is physics.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, but I'm a social analyst, so I take it personal how economics has no sentiments,
Yeah.
There are rules to it. If you follow it, there's a social end to it. There's every other end to it. It affects our life in every way, security-wise, social-wise. So basically, I'm a social analyst, so I connect the dots.
Oh, good.
So
and you do it very well. You do it very well. Concerning the case at hand, we are seeing a situation where Lagos is leading in the forefront of giving people their certificate of occupancies, their titles to their land, which is a way, it's also a collateral. It's also, let me call it a capital. It's capital in its own way. Land is capital, and a land with title, a land with deed, it's also very, very valuable. And to note that 94% of land holding in Lagos do not have titles. What could be the reason for this astronomical disadvantage to the Lagosians, not to talk of outside Lagos? What could be the issue? But let us concentrate on Lagos, where this information came from.
Yeah.
Why is it very difficult for people to get landed titles and land titles and certificate of occupancy?
Yeah, let me put it this way. When you were introducing the topic, the introduction and the way you analyzed it in itself had all the answers. The lack of information, lack of education, and something that consistently shows us the kind of people we are and why we are where we are as a country. Lagos is our biggest economy. Lagos is actually the second largest economy in West Africa after Nigeria, bigger than all the nations. So you can imagine that if you say a figure as big as 90-something% of Lagos doesn't have a title deed to the properties they own, it shows you how badly Lagos has been run. It's, we have to look at things from root causes. There's something that I always remember when I talk on the economic program on the radio.
Yeah.
I always tell people that when you sow a habit, you reap a character. And when you sow a character, you reap a destiny.
Good.
These things don't happen by accident. Now, the fact that, okay, they are awake and they want to do the right thing, the scary part is that how do you do the right thing? Because now, Nigeria, we know, me and you, we are Nigerians, there's a lot of land grabbing going on in Nigeria. And a lot of people will lose lands that they actually bought with monies, hard-earned monies, because they did not know. We have the three kinds of people that do not know. The first type is the type that do not know. The first type that is the type that because they do not know because they do not know. They're just ignorant of the facts. then there are the ones that do not even care if they don't know.
Okay, please. Sorry to cut in, but I want you to guide us on what measures does one have to take in acquiring a plot of land in, let's say, Lagos as a case study?
No, it's nationally. It's the same processes. When you get a land, there's a landing and housing authority that manages that. We have a clear policy in Nigeria about acquiring of land.
Why is it now difficult for us to get titles?
What I wanted to say is that Nigeria is a country where the citizens don't even have a connection with the policy programs of their government, because the Nigerians don't see government as anything. They see government as an opportunity for people to go and enrich themselves and not to serve the people and become more like godlike figures. So when there's a disconnection of that level, people, that's why I use the kind of three people that do not know. People become disconnected to a level that they don't care. And a lot of Nigerians, because of the, you can, when you were introducing this conversation, you talked about a lot of Nigerians not even being educated about what they are supposed to know. Now, I can give an example. I remember there's a conference that oil and gas companies have annually in Texas. I think, I want to remember the name. I think it's OIC or something. I want to remember, no. I'll remember the name. So I had a friend of mine, a childhood friend. So he went for one of these conferences. And they were in the city of Houston, Texas. So after they had the conference, I'm not trying to compare our country with something, but we learned something from something. Okay. After the conference, you know, they had a tour guide. They wanted to go around the city of Houston. This story I'm telling you is about, it's approximately about 11 years ago. Okay. So they wanted to go around the city of Houston, and they were seeing areas that were not built up, but there were roads and planned and organized. And my friend asked the tour guide that, why do you have all this kind of areas planned like this and nobody lives there? Oh, the guy said, oh, the city of Houston is anticipating about population growth about 120,000 people. And that's why we're putting this in place. So that's when you don't react. That's when you're proactive. Good. So the city of Houston was already anticipating the population growth, and they were preparing for that. Now, Lagos is one city that I can say has over 20 million people. Yeah. And I lived in Lagos. I've spent a lot of years in Lagos, so I can speak from a point of knowledge.
Sorry to cut in.
Yeah, please.
So, be that as it may, we are looking for solutions. 94 or 90-something% of lands without deeds in Lagos. What can be done to rectify that?
That's where I was heading to.
Okay.
I was heading to that point because in creating...
So right now, we can't even get loans from banks.
Yeah, in creating a solution...
and somebody might think he has a landed property, but he doesn't really own that.
There's something we call looking for root causes. Now, what created this level of 94% of properties in Lagos not having deed titles? That is the first thing you're supposed to look at. Okay. Now, when you look at that, you get different kinds of answers. Ignorance, people didn't know, education, and probably not enough information. And when you know, because you know, when you know half of a problem, you have half of the solution. Yeah. Now, when you start looking at it from the perspective that of Lagos, whether the mainland or the island, because I'm not comfortable with the kind of water, that means the Lagos waterbed is polluted. What have we done about that? Are we a normal society? So there are lots of things that you look at. So when you want to say you want to give people deeds, title deeds, and you have 94%, wow. The first thing that comes to an average Nigerian's mind is this not another form of land grabbing from governments? Because governments often do this in this country. And that's why realtors, real estate investors, the big-time real estate investors have not really put big money down here. Because as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria is way behind with the kind of population we have, with the kind of people. You can look at Lagos is the only cosmopolitan city in Nigeria. When I mean the word cosmopolitan, a city that stretches into 2 states. You have Lagos and Ogun State, so it's a massive, massive city. And Lagos has a lot of potentials, financially, economically. Lagos stands out. So if you have to work on what stands out, you have to put your best into it.
Definitely.
I want to give you a history. Over time, Dubai has always been a trading city like Onitsha, a city by the water that people come to do business. But the people there, with the oil explosion and the money, they realized that we just don't want to be a port city where people stop and do business. We want to be a real business city, a city that affects business all over the world. So when you come to Dubai and do business, you want to do other things in Dubai. You want to buy properties in Dubai. You want to put your money in Dubai because you trust the system. You know, there's a slogan in Dubai.
What can we pick from Dubai to be able to make us gain access into at least be able to get loans from the banks? Because without
banks don't give you loans.
Collaterals.
Banks don't, minus collaterals.
Yeah.
See, the most important word in business is clarity. Banks don't give you loans without clarity.
Okay.
Now, if you have a policy that is as clear as crystal to the bank, they know what they're putting their money into. It might be a consulting, it might be a holding company, it might be a bank. You know, you can source your loan anywhere you want as far as it's legal.
That's a private individual.
Yes, you can. It's business. It's the business world. The most important thing is raising capital. And when you raise the capital, you have to assure everybody that's putting their money into your business that this is a win-win for all of us. That's the whole idea of business.
Good.
Now, the Nigerian situation is not a win-win for an investor. Now, if you're coming to put your money with all this kind of thing, with this 94%, you see a lot of people coming out. There will be a lot of noise on the internet. There will be a lot of issues because I know the Nigerian way. But if Lagos State government has come out and said, okay, we have this problem identified, half solved. This is how we are going to go about it.
Exactly.
It's going to take us like 3 years. We're going to sort it out. But this is the process. And everybody that's a stakeholder and an investor understands what the process totally is. It's a clear situation.
Okay. Okay.
Let me start.
Yes. I want us to hinge on that to say that the first port of call is for the government to clear their act.
Yes, to make people understand that.
Yeah.
If we want everybody to have a title deal, I can understand the part of the tax. You know, but the only challenge I have with Nigeria, because I'm going to diverge this, I like to connect, every other thing is connected. You know, somebody came out, somebody I respected so much and said something that really, I was like, what? Did you say this? He said, if you're earning 200,000 naira in Nigeria, you're better than somebody in the UK that's earning 2,000 pounds. And I couldn't fathom why he said that. But the funny thing is, economics doesn't have sentiments. It doesn't lie. Now, Nigeria pays so low because production is so low.
Exactly.
So, and we have one of the worst kind of paying ratio for our people.
Exactly.
So when you are having all this inflation and all that, and you're not having an FX that's coming in as a result of production, you have the same thing. There's no sentiment about it.
Exactly.
So these are the things that we look at and say, okay, where's the clarity here? You want people to put money, you have to show them why they have to put money. I have to be sure as a businessman that if I'm coming with a consultant to put $10 million in Nigeria, me and these people that we are doing business, they are sure that they are going to get some profit from making this money. I'm going to also make money. And the people that are the end users are going to be happy that they got this because it's going to improve their life and make them also make more money.
Good. Good. Okay, let's hinge on that. And in a little words, in very few words of yours, I want you to give me the answers to this next question that is coming up. We have 107 companies, including Dangote and Mikano International, are currently enjoying tax exemption from the federal government, despite the insistence to discontinue the program and drastic steps to improve its revenue base. What do you think it's the concept for the government giving tax exempt from very, very wealthy, very, very well-to-do and companies and corporations. Meanwhile, there are none of that for the medium and small enterprises that we have. Very, very, very quick.
Yeah, very
quick.
simple. Very simple. It's like this. All over the world, the richest get tax exemptions because they are the biggest investors in the economy. I don't have a problem with the tax exemption. I have a problem with the fact that we don't take advantage of the low-hanging fruits, the things that are supposed to develop the economy, because I don't think the big investors are the challenge Nigeria has. If they enjoy tax exemptions, they've paid their price. I don't want to get into anything I do not know anything about. But the point is, what are we doing with our economy? Are we really trying to change our economy from a consuming economy to a production economy, an economy that's vibrant? You know, I can give you an example. Air Peace launched a route to the UK, and you know what that did in the aviation sector in Nigeria? It cut all the prices of all the other airlines that were airlifting Nigerians to the UK.
Yeah.
Now, Air Peace has achieved two things in a move.
Exactly.
One, the money Air Peace earns, they pay to their Nigerian employees. So Air Peace is bringing Forex back into Nigeria.
The country.
Secondly, Air Peace has automatically brought competition into that route, which cuts the price and makes Nigerians pay cheaper.
Oh,
you can see the power of production. This is indirect production. Air Peace didn't make the Boeings, they are flying to the UK.
Yeah.
Those Boeings, we imported them.
Exactly.
So it doesn't mean that you can't produce when you import.
Exactly.
The point is, when you do not have the technological advantage to produce those things, you can actually import them. You know, we had a lot of nice regulations in Nigeria. I remember when I joined ENI.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I would have loved us to continue this discussion, but I believe that you are still going to grace our studios again, because we have a lot to dissect. We have a lot to jaw on. Because I love the part you're.
I just want to add one more thing.
Okay, quickly.
First and foremost, we should just not rush into celebrating the strength of the naira to the dollars. I just want to say the hard fact. The fact that we are using money from our foreign reserve to make the dollar strong, to make the naira strong, is scary for me. I don't like a band-aid solution to a long-time situation.
Oh, thank you
That's
so
my
much.
last thing.
Thank you so much. Our guest has been Ugochukwu. He has been